Hello my friends, welcome back to another tutorial. I hope you're all keeping very, very well. This week I am going to paint something slightly different, something interesting. A rally car going through water with lots of spray coming up the sides of the car. I got this request from a very good friend of mine and supporter, Rosemary. I hope you're keeping well, Rosemary. I'm going to do your painting for you. Try and give a good impression of this lovely scene. So it's a lovely picture. All you can see is the front of the car coming through the spray, coming up both sides of the car. It's a beautiful picture, it really, really is. And I think it was caught just at the right time. Lovely colours and very eye-catching. So I'm going to paint something like that for you on a nice little canvas here. It's 12 by 12. It's not primed or anything, it's just a normal shop purchased canvas board, 12 by 12. So let's try this, it's going to be a bit of fun. Something nice and loose, just to kind of loosen us up a little bit. Nothing too intricate, nothing too detailed. So let's have a bit of fun with this. Yeah, so let's go, let's try it. And I'll see you in just a moment. Thank you, my friends, and enjoy the tutorial. Okay, let's go, my friends. There's a reference photograph. Now, I know it may not be to everyone's taste, but I think it's very, very striking. I really do. And I think it would be a lovely lesson on creating mist, blending colours into the background, creating spray, that kind of thing. So I'm just going to take a pencil and do a very quick sketch. Look, just a very fast sketch. The grass along the bottom, we have a little bit of water kind of coming across at the back there and here. And let's just put the front of the car in. So let's go, just doing a very rough kind of a sketch now of the car, okay? Just the front of the car. You don't have to be too particular with this, all right? Lots of spray coming up, look at that. Lots and lots of spray. Spray coming out like that. I'm going right up into the air and coming down like that. Okay? Just squiggly lines, just very, very squiggly lines. And we get the front of the car in, very loose again. It goes back at a slight angle. Then it comes up like that and around. And really, that's all you need to do. It's just a quick kind of loose suggestion. That's it. A couple of lights. You can see a bit of a light there, one there. Now maybe a little bit wide. We can always make it narrower as we go, and we have a nice little bit of writing down at the end. That really catches our eye, doesn't it? So look, that's all we need to do. That really is all we need to do. A bit of spray coming out behind, underneath, and it's very dark down there. And I think that's all, okay? Let's round it just slightly here, because I know this is a Mark, I think it's a Mark 1 Escort, Mark 2 I think it could be, I could be wrong, probably a Mark 2 Escort. Ford Escort, by the way. And there we go, I think that's fine, that's all we need. Nice and simple, nice and quick. Now I'm going to get a brush. And I've left this canvas unprimed for a good reason, okay? I want the paint to kind of slightly soak in and dry in a bit as I'm going along, so I can create this lovely spray without making a big muddy mess. Do you understand? So I'm just going to put a nice darkish grey-blue background on the background there, okay? Up in the sky. Let's dampen the brush with some thinners, and let's take some black, phthalo blue, and a little white. And then just to warm this, because I see a hint of a warmth in the colours throughout the painting, I'll take a touch of magenta, okay? Just a touch. Now, let's just try this. We're going to keep adding to this as we go, all right? It's never a final colour, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, let's a bit of pink, a touch of magenta. And you can see now I'm really using very thin paint. This is really watery, this paint, okay? Very, very thin. Lots of thinners in this. And I really only want a thin coat up there. So again, I keep mixing now as I go along. Keep picking up touches of colour. Some more magenta, phthalo blue, little black. That's a bit better. It is tricky painting on an unprimed canvas like this, because the paint, almost immediately kind of soaks in, so it doesn't go very far. But I know it's going to benefit me later when I get to doing all this lovely thick mist. So I'm just going to keep this nice and thin. Lots of thinners in this. Lots and lots of thinners. Now if you find this gone too dark, okay, just take a bit more thinners, a bit more blue, a little bit of white. And that white will thicken up the paint as well. So I need plenty of thinners. I could have probably just wet the background with some linseed oil. Let's do that, okay? Come on, let's just make it slightly easier for ourselves. Or not even linseed oil, I'll take some thinners out of my jar. Just little thinners. Wet the background, just a bit, okay? Come on, let's just take the dryness out of the canvas very slightly. No, that's fine, that will do. It's just about helping the paint move around. That's all. It's really all I want to do. Some more white. I probably could have used a bigger brush as well in hindsight, but that doesn't matter. It's absolutely fine. I'm just going to scratch all that paint into the background there. Scratch, 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 round in circles, scratch it all in. You can see how thick this is, or how thin this is. You can see it's really, really thin, isn't it? Now, okay. Now that's a bit blue. Let's take a bit more white and a hint more black. You want just a very subtle colour, really. A nice subtle colour. Now once I have all my kind of main colour done, I'm just going to then start adding a little touch of white. Just to soften it a bit as it comes down, okay? Tiny bit of white, and for example, around the middle here, I just want to soften that out slightly. Make it slightly lighter. And a little bit over here. Just nice and subtle. Now, as it comes over this way, I'm going to just add a touch of black. You really don't have to spend that much time on the background now, okay, Rosemary? I'm just kind of adding a little bit of colour into the background, just to move the eye around the painting, that's all. Okay? No, I think that's okay. That's fine. A nice dark background will give us that beautiful bright spray that we need, and it'll really show on the painting. I'm going to start filling in the spray, and if you look closely at the colours of the spray, I can see a hint of a pinkish grey. Okay, so again, I'm just going to take some white. I'm going to take some magenta. Again, lots of thinners. And a touch of black. And I just want to go for this pinky grey colour first. And I'm simply just going to fill all of the spray in with this pinky colour. And you'll see me constantly going down to pick up some thinners because it's really very thin, all right? Very, very thin. Some magenta, a little black. And what I do then is, you see, I just fill in the basic mid colour of all the spray first. And then I add darks and lights to that. You probably know that by now. I just find that a much easier way of working and getting the values right. So I'm just going to do the other side now as well. A little bit darker by accident. Let's just add a bit of white in there. So it's a nice warm, soft, pinky grey. You see that? So I'll put the darker shades in like this. And then we'll work in some of our shades and our lights and all that. We'll have a lot of fun with this. Scratch it across onto your canvas, look at that. Scratch it right in. You can begin to see it, can't you? These are all the darker shades. Now I'm going to just start adding slightly darker colours to this. Okay, so some lamp black, magenta, and a hint of blue. A very darky grey colour, okay? And I'm just going to here and there pop that in little circles. Now this is important. This is probably the most important part. Blending these colours in, I'm just doing little circles, okay? Just like that, look, especially down around the bottom. Little circles here and there. You don't have to go wild with all of this now. And over here I see a couple like that. And if you look then, you can see hints of a browny, muddy colour. I presume from the mud being kicked up at the end. So then simply pop in some burnt umber and a little black, okay? And then we'll soften that dark, muddy colour as well across the bottom first, like this, look. And then we'll kind of go up at a slight angle. You can see where the angle is kind of coming up slightly, where it's being kicked up. And I'll do a little bit over here, just a touch, like that. Now I'll soften it over here first. It's all about just softening your colours in, that's all really. And then at the very end, I'm going to go nice and dark. I'll take some black with some burnt umber and a little magenta, because I see it's a pinkyish dark, okay? So again, just a little magenta. That ties everything together, and you can see it's really dark just in under here, isn't it? And then you can see that bit of the curve coming up. And then just under here. And what I'm really trying to do actually is just to catch the movement and the direction of those bits of paint sort of flicking up. That's really all I want to do, okay? Now I'm going to go for a smaller brush, dampen it slightly, take some magenta and some black. Okay, and then I'm simply going to just go right in under here with that across the bottom of the car. And then I'm going to just start flicking it outwards, look, softening it out. So now, you see, we're getting the direction. And let's go again on this side. I'll take a touch more magenta. Just that kind of a pinky, blacky, pinky colour. And I'm going along, you see, just at the bottom where there's nice dark shading kind of coming in. And then soften that through. Again, we'll get some burnt umber and perhaps even a touch of burnt sienna, look. So we can add a slight hint of warmth into this. And then later on we can soften these colours together, okay? Well, look, a little bit there. So I'm just trying to imagine all that mud being kind of kicked up by the car. That's what it is, Ollie. That's all it is actually. Mud being kicked up by the car. So you can see I'm just kind of focusing now first on my darker shades, and then I'm going to start adding some lights in, just kind of flicking it across. Look, get the direction of that spray. And again, I'm just going to take this very dark colour and again just get that lovely curve here, beautiful curve where it's being kicked up. Okay, so I have a lot of darks done, a lot of work is done already. I'm now going to take my soft brush and simply just soften that right through, okay? Go around in circles and let's just soften all of this through. Now you can already see the reason I left this unprimed, because this is all starting to dry in. So I can really blend them without losing too much. I can really go mad with the blending. So I've that much done. I'm now going to start putting in some of the brights. Okay, I'll switch brushes, nice clean brush, nice worn flat brush. And I'm going to go with some white, little magenta, and I might even take a touch of Naples yellow. Now I'm just going to try this. It might not work, but let's just try it. I'm going to just start up here. And you see with the corner of the brush, I'm just going around in little circles. You see what I mean? And what's happening is, you can see it soften into that darker shade slightly. So I'm really scratching this into the colour now. You see that? Really scratch it in. And I just go along like this, bit by bit, brightening it each time as I go, okay? That's all it is. It's a really fun technique to learn, and it'll help you learn how to sort of blend colours together. It really will. So let's try again. Let's take a touch of pink again, and even a touch of this blue. Look, we could go very bright blue as well. And let's again just go around and just start softening this in. Round in circles all the time, okay? That will give you the lovely sort of misty effect. Just remember, going around in circles, it will just help create that misty effect. You see? There we go. You can even just start to flick it outwards like this as well if you want. And along the top, just very gently soften that across. Now, so it's coming together. It's coming alive, isn't it? Let's try that again. Let's go on to this side over here. Now I'm going to leave this section by the car because I'm going to paint the car first and then push some mist in front of the car, okay? So I'll just leave this edge for now. I go up around the top like that. You see, just very gently. And what I'm doing, you see, is in some places I'm pushing down hard, in other places I'm leaning off. So it's about finding the right balance here and there. So nice and gentle like that. Now we have a lot of different layers as it comes down here. And I'm using only a little bit of paint, okay? I'm not using a lot of paint in this. I go in front with another layer. So if you think about it, it's like putting one layer in front of the next all of the time. So look, I'll soften this one like that. Then I'll go back in again, take a touch of paint. That's a bit too much now, isn't it? Let me get some more white and some magenta in there. Then I go in front of that one with another small layer like this, looking at the direction of that bit of spray. Then another one in front again, and then another one in front of that again. So now what you see, we have all different little layers of spray coming up. You see what I mean? You can begin to get the idea. Different layers. I'm going to do the same. I know these are kind of slightly different. This one is more soft, but I'm going to just add one or two over here as well, just to help balance the painting out. Just a little, look, just a little, a couple of little layers here and there. You see what I mean? Just slightly. Okay, we're coming over here now into the brown, slightly. And then as it comes down, what I'm going to do is start flicking upwards, gently like that, look. That'll just give us a little bit of movement, just a little. it does give us just a bit of movement, I think. Now I'm going to take Naples yellow, white and a little magenta, because I can see a lovely warmth going on. I'm going to pop, let me just have a look here now for a moment. I'm going to pop a little bit of that like this, coming around and then around this way. And then a little bit of it inside here. And it's really just try it. Just try it. Have a bit of fun with all of this. Now, I'll try that again on the other side. Naples yellow, touch of magenta. And I'm using tiny, tiny touches, okay? I'm not going crazy with lots. Naples yellow, little magenta. And I'm just going to pop a little of that warm colour, just as if the sunlight is kind of catching it here and there, okay? It's like under the tyre. It's getting kind of pushed out under the tyre, you see? Now, what I'm going to do is start softening these, go around in little circles, especially up the top here, soften those out. Now, I will brighten all of this a bit. I'm just going to soften this for now. I will be putting in my very bright colours in just a moment, okay? Pull that up like that, leave it flick outwards, and then soften along the top. Soften this back in. And again, I know this is not everyone's cup of tea, this type of a painting, but I thought it would be just fun to try because I like the composition. I love the composition in the painting. Now I'm going to start going brighter, much, much brighter. Okay, I'm going to get some white and thick paint, no thinners, okay? Some Naples yellow and some magenta, a touch of magenta. So I'm now going for a bright, very bright kind of a sunlit colour. It's not on the photograph, but I think it's going to look lovely when I put it on here, just to catch the light. Okay, let's try it. I'll start here, look. I think just to catch the light, be a much nicer effect, especially on the top. So it's coming up, it's kind of capturing the sunlight coming down across the back here like this, ever so gently, you see? Just ever so gently. And again, I'm adding layers. You see that? Different layers. And you can keep then blending and blending and blending this into the background as you like. You see, you can just keep going and keep blending until you're happy. There's no precise time when you have to stop. Do you understand what I mean? If you're not happy, add more. And just soften it back in and then add more again. In that kind of an order. Okay, so I just want to really capture some lights in all of this. It's starting to brighten up now, isn't it? Now, I'm going to go slightly brighter. I'm going to go with phthalo blue and white. So adding a slightly whiter colour to all of this. Because I can see it is darker, much darker than the photograph. So I'm just going to keep brightening this as I see fit, as I think it needs it. And, you know, you can just eventually then just stop. If you think you've enough, just stop and stand back and take a look. And that's the most important thing with painting. You have to stand back and take a look. I would say it's probably the most important, because you find when painting, sometimes you get drawn into your painting and you become so focused in one little part that you don't see the overall picture. So it's very good practice to just stand back every now and then and just have a look. Just have a good look. And it helps you spot little things. Now I'm just going to keep at this till I feel I've done enough. Again, there's no rule to say when you should stop and when you shouldn't stop, okay? There's no rule whatsoever. I'm going to make that little point in there, just come up a little bit more. Okay, see, we're getting there now slowly. What I'm going to do is, again, I need to reinforce the darkened sides down here, so I'm just going to again pick up some dark paint and reinforce those darker colours just a bit, you see, just a little, because you will start losing your darks as you go along. Adding these lights, you will start to lose them ever so slightly. So you just go along and you pop a few more in. Like so. And we take a bit of brown and pop a little bit of burnt umber. Again, flicking it upwards. You can see the direction of the water there, sort of flicking upwards. And I think then what I'll do is soften first. Now I'm going to soften some of these back in. I don't want very, very harsh lines on all of this. It needs to be nice and soft and misty, okay? But the fact that we're adding more brighter colour will brighten it for us. Let's just soften all this right at the edge to create that kind of hazy, misty feeling. And then just soften some of the brush strokes out in this as well. Now you could use this for the very same technique if you're creating a misty landscape, for example, or mist at the bottom of a waterfall. It's absolutely perfect for this as well. So you can just kind of really rub it into the canvas and soften it out. It really does make wonderful effects. Okay, now I'm going to get a pointy brush and just, I need to pop in a bit of detail down at the end here, just a little, okay, just a little. Just some deeper, sharper lines here and there. So a black, burnt umber and a little magenta, or just a bit of black if you like. I'm just going to sort of darken in just around here and there, particularly along here. There's a nice little dark edge to that bit of spray just there. I'm going to soften that in. Just to separate it slightly, you see what I mean? And then add sort of little bits of dirt, could be bits of stones and all that sort of thing being pushed up in the air. Just, you see what I mean? Dabbing the brush, that's all. Burnt umber, give it a little dab here and there. It's just to add some suggestion into the painting, that's all. Suggest little bits of detail without actually painting detail. Does that make sense? Just bring that across. Now I'll stop what I'm doing just for now. I think I'll just maybe add one or two highlights with some white, just here and there. And again, you know, we can put all these highlights in as well later on. This is really just, I just want to move on and do the grass and that kind of thing and paint the car. But you could look, just add a couple of little bits of white here and there. Little touches of splash, etc. Look, just little dots here and there to suggest little bits of splash coming up. And, you know, we're almost there. Almost. I'm going to bring a little bit down here, the side of the car. Now, we're done. I'm going to paint the car next. I'm excited. I'm excited about the car. This really is a beautiful focal point for me. I think the car is just fantastic. So I'm going to get a small flat brush. I'll use the small flat that I had. And I'm going to start with, I'll start with the window perhaps. Just start from the top and work down, yes? I'm just going to make a nice dark bluey grey first. So let me get some white on my palette there, just for a moment. And some white, some blue, and a little black. It's a very darky colour, isn't it? I'm going to start with this darky grey kind of a shade first. Alright, I always tend to work with darker colours first and add lights later. I'm just going to fill in the window with this dark grey colour. Excuse me. Just quickly, don't be too particular. Just fill it in, like so. And then what I'm going to do is just dry my brush. And I'm going to take some of this whitey blue, okay, a little bit of bright blue, and I'm just going to simply pull a couple of streaks down here and there on the glass like that, just to make it look like there's stuff going on behind the glass. Maybe get a bit of Naples yellow with burnt umber, pop a little of that just in the background in there. Trying to get it to look like glass is tricky, okay, because you can see through glass, can't you? So you can see little things going on in the background. So for example, okay, you might see a little bit of a strut or a brace or something coming down like that. Then I'll take a bit of rich phaylo blue, pop a little down here and there. And you can see it's just a case of suggesting that there may be lots of different things in the background going on, okay? But at the same time, I'm kind of softening them together as well. Now you can't see any driver inside there. And don't worry, I will be bringing this spray across again. But I just need to widen this. Maybe put a slight curve on it. Okay, that's a bit better, isn't it? And then let's get some bright area. Let's just dab a little bit of a bright area just here and there. And I'll soften that very gently together with my brush, just very gently, barely touching the canvas, look. Barely touching it. So you're just starting to get a hint of what may be going on inside. And then finally, I'll just add one or two little highlights on the glass itself, okay? Where it may be just catching the light. It's really just for effect more than anything else. And then I'll go and get some black. I'm just going to pop a couple of darks. Here and there. It's just to give you a little impression, that's all. I'm going to go up and put the black across the top of the car, okay? And we can fine tune all of these details as well later. So you can see it just comes up and there's a little curve on it, isn't there? It's not a completely straight edge all the way. So there's a bit of a curve. I hope I do this justice now, to be quite honest. I really do. Put a slight curve on the roof. I don't want to completely flat across. I won't worry too much about the writing. I'm just going to take a very light blue and pop a light blue across over that. And even, perhaps, just down on the outside as well. Okay, like so. Then, the front of the car. And it's a very rich blue, isn't it? Very rich. Let's take some phthalo blue and magenta. A touch of white, I think, just a touch. It's really such a rich blue, I think. It's almost like a French ultramarine or a rich cobalt, okay? And I'm just going to go along on the bottom first. And put that in. And you can use a pointy brush for this now, by the way, okay? If you're nervous about using a bigger brush, just grab a pointy brush and go for it. Just have some fun. Okay, let's get more of that colour. Let's go up here onto the bonnet. Across here. Like that. Okay, now I'm going to get, I get my pointy brush and I make some really dark shades of that colour. Phthalo blue, magenta, and a touch of black. And I'm then going to add just a couple of darknesses here and there. Let's go across the front first. Let's just mix up a nice amount of that colour now because I need a lot of this. Okay, across the front like that, softening it in. And we'll come down here. Soften that across there. I'll add a little touch of that colour on top. And a little touch of it on the side. And then what I'm going to do is add a touch of light across the front of the car. So I'm going to get phthalo blue with some white. And I want to just catch one or two highlights, okay? And a touch of magenta. Now, just very, very carefully. Grab a little bit of light coming across the top. That. And a nice bright colour kind of catching the top of the bonnet. Like so. Okay. Now we have a bit of a scoop on the bonnet. I can see a bit of a scoop showing through. So I'm going to put just a little suggestion of a scoop there. And then just put a little tiny highlight around that as well. Just a little small highlight just to catch the scoop, okay? And I also have a little bit of highlight coming across the front of it. Now, we're getting there. Albeit slowly, but nonetheless we're getting there. A little bit of light across the front there. I will fix the window as well. I'm not kind of happy with the window as it is. I sort of kind of soften a lot of this through. Maybe add a little brown in there. And soften some of this through. Just looks a bit messy, doesn't it? I think probably just keeping it simple is the best course of action. Might be better. Now, we also have little things like wipers coming up. Let's try and create a nice little representation. Okay, wipers. Let's just get some black and let's pop some wipers like that, and one coming this way. Next, I'm going to fill in this middle black piece. Okay, lamp black. Let's go. Bit of thinners, some lamp black. Let's just fill this in. And I've always wanted one of these cars, Ford Escort. I just love a classic car. A Ford Escort or perhaps a Ford Capri. I always said to myself and my wife, when I get old and retire, I'm going to get myself a Ford Capri or an Escort or something like that. Just, they're iconic cars, they're beautiful, the shapes are wonderful. There's just something about them, isn't there? For me, there is. Modern day cars just don't have any appealing qualities for me whatsoever. They're just completely the same. They're boring. They have no style. Back in the 80s and the 90s, at least cars had a little bit of style, didn't they? Each one was kind of different. Each make had a unique something about it. Nowadays, all the major brand or all the major manufacturers, they all almost look exactly the same, don't they? They have the same angles and the same lines, and it just gets a bit boring, really, to be quite honest. So that's my plan. I'm going to get myself a nice classic car when I'm older, and I'll be happy out. Okay, I have that in. Let's move to the smaller little brush and get some headlights in. Just simply take some white. Try some white just for now. Just put some nice headlights in. Big headlights, the iconic round headlights on the Escort. There's nothing else like it, is there? And we have a touch of one coming in over here. I will be adding more spray as well, okay? So don't worry. I will be bringing this spray on the left back in again to cover some of this. So not to worry yet about that. And okay, let's see a bit of a line going through it like that. And there's little touches of brightnesses here and there on the light. Could even be the suggestion of a bulb or something in there. I'm probably going into a lot of detail with this, but I do want to have a nice result. And it's all about the details for me in the end. Okay, boom. We have a little number plate, don't we? And all of these little things now are just small little suggestions. All right, I'm not trying to paint every single little detail in this. They're just sort of suggestions. That's all. So just put it across like that. Okay, that's that one done. And with the little Ford badge, so we have to get this right, don't we? If we don't get this right, there will be trouble. Small little curve of the Ford badge. Try and get a point on my brush. I need to buy new brushes. New pointy brushes. Okay, you can see it's just a tiny suggestion, but you can kind of make it out a little bit, can't you? You see? Just a hint. Almost fading into it. Now, I have I'm going to brighten that number plate just a bit, just to make it a little bit more pronounced, okay? I'm not going to worry about writing numbers and stuff like that, not for a while at least. We have a little light catching on the bumpers. I can see a little light catching the darkness of the bumpers just along here like that, and along here like that. And it just kind of comes down the side a little bit. Just to kind of show the blackness of those bumpers, and then just add a little touch of black in there. Okay, like so. Now you can kind of soften that in as well if you want. Okay, you don't have to have solid white lines. Soften a bit of it in. Then I'll go with a little darkness just underneath. Now we have little indicators, don't we? I need to get myself a nice bright orange. Let's get some cadmium yellow, maybe a little magenta. Might be the wrong mix now, but I'll try it. Cadmium yellow and a little magenta. I hope you've enjoyed this now. It's a lot of fun, I think. I really enjoyed painting this. Okay. Small little indicators. I could have maybe used a little cadmium red actually for this, but it's okay. Right. Now we're getting there. We're starting to get there a little slowly, albeit. I'm going to just put in some of the white writing, okay? And I think this is the smallest brush I have right now. I think it is. Maybe a smaller one. Let's get some white. Small pointy brush, get some white. And you can see this okay, I hope. I'm going to just little letters. Now they don't have to be perfect, you see what I mean? It's just a very loose suggestion. Just like that, okay? Very, very loose. And I come down. Now, you see there where it says Frosty. I think that's very personal to the person who owns this car. So what I'm going to do is just write Ford on the car, okay? I hope you don't mind, Rosemary. You just writing whatever you want to write, but I'm going to write Ford because I think writing that word Frosty, it's very personal to the person who owns this car and to the person who took this photograph. So I'm just, for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to write Ford across the bottom of the car, okay? I hope you don't mind. I went a little thick with that, didn't I? But I think just to make it more neutral. Do you understand what I mean? I hope that looks okay, I really do. You could always go back over it later anyway, do you understand? Now, there we go. So look, next thing I'm going to do is just cut across here with some spray, and then we have a little bit of river and grass to do. But all in all, you can see there was a lot of detail in this. There was a lot of work in this, wasn't there? Just for such a small area. And that just shows you how long you can take when painting. Let's cut across this car. Go right across here, look. Across the light and across the bottom here. Okay, I'm going to soften it, then just back in slightly. Go up and brighten it up again. So you can keep brightening all of this as much as you like, really you can. It's up to yourself. So you can see now we've kind of pushed the car back slightly, haven't we, behind the mist? That's what I wanted to do, just to push it back. And then just with a pointy brush and a little couple of dabs of white here and there, just to suggest, you know, bits of the spray kind of coming out into the car, around the car as well. Okay, you see what I mean? Just kind of moving the brush around, little couple of squiggles, and it's really just adding a bit of movement into the painting, that's all. Bits of dirt, look, bits of dirt flying around all over the place. Okay, now I'm happy enough with that. I'm going to move on to a little bit of grassy area over on the right hand side there. So I'm going to take some cadmium yellow, some of the blue and some burnt umber. Maybe even a hint of sienna, okay, because I just want to get a very loose impression of some ground over away from the car here, just on the opposite side of the road. Then pop in a little bit of Naples yellow and just really add some light colours as it comes across into the mist. You see that? And you can even soften it with your finger in as well. You see what I mean? It's just to suggest that there's little bits of this and little bits of that going on off in the distance. Grassy verge, a grassy kind of an area. Now, I'll again take another brush, get some of that nice bright colour on it, and just cut in front of this. Soften it away. As you can see now, we have a bit of a spray coming up and almost disappearing over there into that grassy area, grassy verge. Now, there we go. Coming down to our bit of water. And this should be relatively easy to accomplish here. A little bit of magenta, some phaylo blue, and a little black. Get a nice dark purpley colour. And then as it comes across, just add some white into that colour. Pick up a little white, add some white in. Fill that all in. And again, it's going to soften into the grass over there, look. So just kind of ease it in together, nice and gently. And then come across like that. Take a bit of blue if you like, just to add to the effect of it being water and not a bit of a footpath or anything like that. So a little bit of blue in there will help with that. Take a little bit of black, pop a little bit of black in on this side, soften it across. And you can see the way the black underneath the car, it almost kind of comes down, doesn't it, and it disappears into the water. So it's almost like becoming one, isn't it? So, and a little bit of a reflection as well. Okay, now I will add a touch of light just under the water, a touch of splash. I can see a touch of splash just underneath the wheel where it's kind of coming up in front of the car. And I think that will just help set the car down a little bit better, won't it? Especially on this side as well. Look, just a little bit of splash coming down. And if you want to just even add a touch of darkness to suggest maybe the wheel in under there. Okay, is only a very light suggestion, that's all. Okay, I'm moving down to our lovely grassy area. I'm just simply going to fill this in with a big brush, all right? I'm going to mix some cadmium yellow and some lamp black. Just those two colours, okay? Because cadmium yellow and black make a lovely green. Look at that. A lovely rich green. And then a touch of burnt sienna. That will add some brightness to it. Just lighten it up slightly. Then I'm going to darken this right down. Maybe with a touch of blue as well. Towards the bottom. Add some burnt umber. Here and there. Now I'm just going to flick a couple of darks in here and there, okay? You can see how fast now I'm doing this. I'm just being very, very quick about it. Very quick and very loose. Next thing I'm going to do is a fan brush. I'm going to grab me a little fan brush. And I need more cadmium yellow for this next part. And simply just put some highlights on that grass. And we are done, my friends. Nice, simple tutorial. Not too complicated. Just nice and easy, okay? And of course, rosemary, you can add your own twist to this if you like. You can add little bits and pieces in. It's up to yourself completely. But I hope I've helped capture the feeling of the car, okay? It's about the atmosphere of the car going through all of this water. Now I'm just going to simply add a couple of lights here and there, look. And this is also just kind of breaking up the grass. Understand what I mean? It's breaking it up and going up into the water here and there as well. Just flick it around here and there with the corner of your brush, then the flat of your brush. It's about just making it look busy. Okay, that's all. Now I'm going to go very bright with some very bright highlights. Cadmium yellow and some white. Maybe some Naples yellow as well. I'm just going to pop one or two very bright lights in here, just capturing the sun, okay? Just one or two. And then, just to add a bit more interest, let's take some burnt sienna and let's just pop a couple of dabs of burnt sienna here and there. Could be little bits of stuff on the grass, that kind of thing, you know? It could be a bit of everything. It can be what you want it to be. And there we go. My friends, were finished, okay? I could keep going on and on and on and adding lots and lots and lots of little detail to this for the next hour or so, but I don't feel like I need to. I will just bring that scoop over a bit, just to make it look a bit more natural, okay? And then maybe just a touch of light on top of that as well. That's a bit better. And here we are, done. I hope you've enjoyed this, my friends. I really do. Thank you for tuning in, sincerely. It has been a pleasure. I might just pop a suggestion of 1 or 2 letters on the number plate as well. Okay, just like that. Nothing too fancy. And there we are. A Ford rally car going through the water. Isn't that lovely? Thank you so much. And more importantly, Rosemary, thank you so much for your suggestion. I really enjoyed painting that. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Yeah, that was something nice, something fun, something nice and loose to try. It may not be your cup of tea, but at least just you might learn something about creating spray and stuff like that, and just keeping it simple. So I'll see you again next week, my friends. It has been huge fun painting this little scene of a rally car going through the water. Until next time, take care, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Happy painting, and God bless.